Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 366 of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my once again remote brother from my mother, Schwan.
How we doing?
Fantastic. If this is the first time you're ever seeing, hearing, or listening to us, this is the Two Player Co-op Podcast, where just about every other week, two brothers get together to tell you everything you need to know about in the world of video games. If you like that, make sure you like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, and everyone in betwixt. Also, if you only let us listen on audio services, that's cool too. Just give us a thumbs up, 5-star review, or whatever your service allows. If you really like us, you can go to patreon.com/2playercoop, where we got a lot of different benefits for you people. But the most popular tier is the $5 producer tier, which lets you watch us record the podcast live on YouTube as we are doing right now. You also get a bonus episode every month. And if you miss a live recording, you get the podcast live one day early on YouTube. Except this week, I'm just going to put it live tomorrow because what we're talking about, I got to get it out there. And I don't like putting stuff live on a Friday, but I had to watch the debate yesterday. That was a mistake. Some of our patrons deserve a shout out, just like the man with the bar named after him, our patron saint, Mr. John Tingley. Also, our affiliates, Derek Bamford, James Solar. Make sure you check out James Games and more on YouTube as well. And as well as our producers, Steve Appleton, Aunt Sue, Dustin Down. No, damn it, Aunt Sue. Dustin Downs and Chris Peralta. I'm going to delete her right now. Aunt Sue, you're being deleted. Make sure you check out PS Rewind on YouTube as well. What? Cut? Oh, you're doing this.
Delete.
Oh, delete. You're doing like this. You're like,
I couldn't remember what he did. I was like, what do I do with my hands?
I think you were just trying to stay on camera. Because it was just like, oh, that's my bad shoulder. If you like cool t-shirts and the like, you can always go to teespring.com/store/2player-co-op. Sean White, how you holding up?
Good, not great. Less sick
I thought
than
you said,
I was before.
I thought you said, good night, great.
No, good, not great.
Yes, I understand.
Less sick than before. Still a little sick. Brittany's gone. So I'm #single parent for the week.
Not just gone on the other side of the ocean.
Across the pond. Hobnobbing it in Barcelona. Not jealous at all. We're someday. We made it halfway through the week. So almost there.
September 11th. Crazy. 23 years.
23.
I was a junior in college.
I was a senior in high school.
Yep. That's math. That math. It's just crazy. That's been that long. I don't have a lot of witty banter, Sean, but then I thought of something that we have to banter about, but because we have not recorded in 2 weeks, and that means
I'd rather not.
We did not discuss fantasy football yet. And for once in the history of this podcast, this might be the first time that I actually want to talk about fantasy football. I do have to say, I nailed the draft. I do have to say. Now,
I'm a little worried about your team.
Why? Because I got 100 running back. Oh, you're worried about how good it is.
Yeah, I'm worried for the rest of us. I do think you have a very good team. #not reverse jinx.
Researching all summer apparently does pay off. But what also pays off is when Tyreek Hill is still there at the 5th pick. And I'm just like, seriously?
I think any week where Tyreek gets 100 and a touchdown, which will probably be most weeks, I think you'll win. I feel like that's kind of what it comes down to. If he shows up, you're probably going to win that week.
Yeah. The funny thing is, so last year, Sean and I were both like, ooh, we've heard of zero RB. We're going to be so smart. We're going to go zero RB. And I went in there and I was like, I'm going to go zero RB. And I got Jamar Chase, who sucked because Joe Burrow was hurt all year. I got Devontae Adams, who sucks because Jimmy Garoppolo sucks and he got hurt. And then Aiden O'Connell sucked even more So he didn't have a quarterback. My team was crap. It was horrible. I went 4-10. I would like to just forget that it ever happened. What?
So I went 0 RB, and my first 2 picks were Diggs, who sucked, and Kelsey, who sucked. And in our league, for anybody that thinks that might be weird, we don't treat tight ends separately. We just lump them in with wide receivers. Tight ends don't exist. And I went to the championship game and I lost, but like second place, I'll take it. This year, the sky is falling because I lost week 1, but like my first 2 picks sucked. Like Amon-Ra disappeared. Literally, they said it's like his worst fantasy game ever. I think. Except there was one game against Dallas many years ago where he had like 4 yards. But basically his worst fantasy game ever. The guy who I thought was a sure thing. And
especially in PPR.
My number 1 pick. Number 2 pick, ETN, who apparently also sucks now. I mean, I have his backup, but like if they're going to keep splitting carries, they're both worthless. So,
and if he's going to keep,
I don't know. I'm already just like over this year.
If he's going to keep fumbling,
I'm like, I'm done.
If he's going to keep fumbling, Peterson will just bench his ass, I think. And then
I wish he would.
Still.
Just at this point, I'm like, I don't wish an injury on anybody, but maybe,
except maybe Daniel Jones.
Something bad were to happen, then I'll be in good shape because apparently Tank Bigsby's pretty good, but I can't play him until ETN's out. So I don't know. Cooper Kupp seems like the old Cooper Kupp.
I was so happy to see
an old Cooper Kupp, so that's good. Tyler did not have a good game, but I'm not too worried about that. I think he'll figure it out. Malik Neighbors, I think, is the only good thing on the Giants. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Bad thing if you're a Giants fan. Could be a good thing if he's on your fantasy team, but it's like it's one of those things that we were talking about where he's in the somebody's got to catch the ball role on that team. And he apparently is the only one who can, but DJ's going to have a hard time getting him the ball. So
but
like
the problem is somebody's got to throw
one
it to
game.
him.
So like
5 for 66 is a good start. That's a good start.
That's not bad. Yeah. For game 1, Marvin Harrison sucked.
Yeah.
So
1 catch for 4 yards, even though he was wide open for the game winner and Kyler didn't see him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
So I don't know. I think my team will be all right, but I feel like, again, I'm in a position where I've got a lot of good players and not very many great players. Javonte Williams sucks. Apparently everybody on Twitter is still high on him. They're like, it was 1 bad game. Like he's going to figure it out. But I'm like, I don't know. And then I've got like Lad McConkey looked all right. He got a touchdown and like 40 something yards or something. Keon Coleman looks like he's probably the number 1 in Buffalo, but they just don't really throw it much. So I'm like, I've got a bunch of people who are probably going to score. I'll have weeks where like everybody gets me, like starters and bench gets me like 10 points, and that doesn't help me. I need starters who get me 30 and bench players who get me 10. So I don't know. I'm not feeling too good, but it is what it is. It's 1 week. This time next week, I might be like, oh my God, my team's amazing. I got 160 points last week. So who knows?
The reason Sean's saying he's worried about my team. So I got Tyreek Hill with the 5th pick. We do a snake draft. We've got 12 teams, which is a lot. Coming back around, I got Garrett Wilson. He didn't have a great first game, but I didn't need him to. I had the most points last week. And I feel like they're not going to go, what's up, James? They're not going to go up against many defenses as good as San Fran. And he still had a decent game, even when, Rodgers only played 3 quarters and was his first game back after tearing his Achilles. So I got Garrett Wilson, and then it came back around to me and I was like, Josh Allen's there, but the 3rd round, everything I've told myself is unless you get one of those top 2 or 3 quarterbacks, actually he was one of those, but you don't want to reach for a quarterback. So I said, fine, I'm going to take Mike Evans. I'm so happy I did that. Now, is he always going to have 60 yards and 2 touchdowns?
The immortal Mike Evans.
He just doesn't get old. And then in the 4th round, I got Tony Pollard, who a lot of people are down on, and it's only been 1 game, but clearly he is the main back. A lot of people are saying it's going to be
He's got a bad, I don't remember who they play this week, but he's got a bad matchup this week.
It's the Jets, but at least it's in Tennessee.
There you go.
And then I picked up Zamir White, who I wasn't happy about as my other running back. But then I also got Brian Robinson Jr., who I drafted to be a backup, but he clearly seems like he's the number one back over Eckler. So I've got him starting. And then for backup, and I got Anthony Richardson in the 6th round. I couldn't believe he was still there. Now, he might not last me all season, but if he can just complete 9 passes every week for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns along with a running touchdown, I'm like, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
But I backed him up with Tua, and I don't like Tua, but the fact that I got Tyreek, I was like, I need to have a decent quarterback if Anthony gets hurt. So why not just get Tua? He's there. He's not great, but if I can pair him with Tyreek, that means Tyreek gets an 80-yard touchdown. Tua gets an 80-yard touchdown. You know what I mean? Obviously.
Yeah.
And then my other running backs, I've got a lot of backups that I'm just waiting for injuries to happen. Like to your point, or for them to suck. To your point about Javonte, I've got Jaleel McLaughlin with Denver. I've got Bruce Irving in Tampa, who everybody's raving about. Zach Charbonnet. Ken Walker's already hurt. I picked up Jeff Wilson today because Devon Achane is hurt and Raheem Mostert is old and hurt. He's already out Thursday.
Well, I'm against Thomas this week, who has Achane, and he's one of few people on his team that kind of scares me. So I need him to stay injured.
Yeah. But if he is out, I think I'm going to start old man Jeff Wilson this week. The only thing I'm worried about is my running backs, but I don't even care because my receivers are so good. And I say all this, of course, it's just like real life football. One injury can just shut my season down, especially if it's a running back. I mean, I've got a lot of backup running backs, and we can, I could throw a running back in a flex or whatever. But if I lose one of my main 3 receivers, that's what would really kill me.
The thing is, like, on paper, I like my team. Like, I got a lot of the people that I had my eye on. And so far, other than Cup, nobody really showed up the way I wanted them to. I think Kyler will. I'm sure Amon-Ra will. Yes, I think Malik will. But I'm worried about Etienne, and I'm really worried about Javonte. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
So I didn't go 0 RB, and I still hate my RBs.
I went 0 RB without trying to. Oh, and that was the thing. Like I told Sean, like I showed up to the draft with all these packets of papers that I had printed out and all my rankings, and I had highlighted people in different colors that mean different things. And I had a manila envelope that I took all these notes on the inside. I looked like Charlie Day in Always Sunny. Like I was just losing my mind researching for fantasy. And I was like, this is either going to be the smartest thing I ever did for fantasy or the dumbest. So I'm either going to keep researching every year if this goes well, or I'm never going to do a second of research ever again if it goes bad. It's been 1 week, but so far, I mean, I loved my team coming out of the draft, which I did not like, that I felt good about them. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now, quite happy. Quite happy indeed. Sean, we got a lot to talk about. There's one major game we want to talk about. Have you played anything else besides that? Because I've played one thing if you have nothing to talk about.
No. I mean, Vampire Survivors.
Well, yeah, but you haven't talked about it on here yet. So yeah,
that's true. We didn't record last week.
Why don't you regale us with how mad you are that they took Castlevania sprites and you're the old man yelling at clouds and you just don't understand. I love Colin. I don't understand. There are some weird hills that he dies on. I'm just like listening to it and I'm finally like, I need to go look at the timestamps and just skip ahead because I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore. And Chris has to be going crazy listening to it too. It's like, holy crap. We don't need to talk about this for 20 minutes, dude.
Yeah, I don't understand. So what I will say is I don't understand like how they get away with it, like blatant ripping them off.
Well, and Konami's working with them.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like I don't care. If anything, I think it's cool. But I wonder, like, how can you do that and get away with it and sell again? Like, I don't understand how it all works, but it doesn't bother me. The game's really fun. It's everything. I mean, I had played it before on my iPhone or maybe my iPad, maybe both. I don't remember. And it works well enough. I mean, it's a game that it's one of few games that works pretty much perfectly well on a touch screen, but it's better on PlayStation on the big screen using the DualSense, whatever. Um, I'm having a lot of fun with it. The trophies are pretty overwhelming, but once I actually looked at the ones that are, it's really weird how they do the trophies. Like it's not all DLC. They've got like the game and it's like, here's what you need for the platinum. And then there's another one that's completely, as far as I know, unrelated to any DLC, but it's just like, here's a collection of trophies for just, I can't remember what it is, like unlocking weapons or there's something that it's just like trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy of just like a bunch of trophies that are very similar as far as what you would do to get them. I don't remember what it was exactly, but they don't count towards the platinum. They're in the trophy list as if it was like a DLC, like it's almost like a whole separate thing, but it's not. It's still the main game, but they're like optional trophies that you don't need for the platinum. I've never seen a game do it before. But it's a lot of fun. It seems like I should be able to get the platinum. Once I actually stopped and looked at the true trophy list for the platinum, it all seems pretty doable. But after a certain game came out and then another game coming out in another week or two, I don't know when I'll get back to it. It probably won't be till October-ish, maybe after the beach. I don't know. So I'm hoping I haven't forgotten everything I have done and all that, but it's a lot of fun. I don't know what I was expecting, but then when I actually went to like buy it, I was pleasantly surprised that it was like $5. I don't know. It was super cheap. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? $5?
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, I was going in expecting to pay, I don't know what I was expecting to pay. $10? I don't know, but I was like, $5. I mean, I was going to get it regardless. And then I was like, I guess it makes sense that it would only be $5 given what it is. No shade, but like it's a lot of fun. Did you pick it up at all or no?
Not yet, because I was playing something else about related to vampires before the other game came out. I don't know why we're being so vague.
Yeah, there you go. John says Weapon Evolution is one of the trophy sets, but it's like, yeah, it's like a whole set of trophies that, to my knowledge, they show up as if it was a DLC. Like they don't show up in the same area where the platinum does. So I don't think you have to get those to get the platinum. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I've missed a lot of games. I'm sure I have, but I've never seen a PlayStation game with trophies set up that way where you have like different like sets, like folders of trophies that are available, but you don't have to get for the platinum. I don't know. It's very strange, but the game's fun. I love it.
So I did look up, I found a trophy guide. There's not many out there, which is kind of weird. Maybe it's just because people just use the achievements guide, but this guide says estimated difficulty is 4 out of 10. Estimated hours to platinum, 55 to 70. Does that seem right? It's that much? Or it's that much grinding, I guess?
Doesn't seem right to me, but I'm sure they know what they're talking about. But like, and to be fair, I've probably only gotten about half the trophies, if that count towards the platinum. But like none of them, I don't remember seeing anything on that list and being like, oh my God, I have to do that. And maybe it's the kind of thing where like sometimes trophies seem very innocuous. I don't know if that's the right word, where it's like, oh, that doesn't seem too bad. But once you dig into it and what you have to do to get all of them, it's like, oh, collect all the things. But hey, to get that one thing, you have to do this whole list of things and it only counts for like, so maybe there's something weird like that it's a lot more involved than I think, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be hard. And this is what I said going into it. I'm like, I don't think it's going to be that hard of a platinum, but I could see it taking a while. 55 to 70 hours seems kind of overkill, but I'm sure there's just something that I'm not realizing about it. But
that was somebody
it's a platinum that I'm almost 100% certain I will get at some point, hopefully this year. But it won't be at least for another month or so, probably.
So on Xbox achievements, if you go by their guide to 1200 gamer score, which is the platinum trophy, that says 30 to 40 hours. That makes more sense.
That seems much more reasonable. I have no problem with that. That sounds about right.
Very, very
But yeah,
interesting.
I think other than the big one, I think that's all I've played.
Well, I have played a game also, like I said, about vampires, but this one is called Castlevania: Dawn of Sorrow. Now, this game,
I heard that game like copied a bunch of stuff from Vampire Survivors.
yeah, and Colin's really mad
Like
about
a
it.
lot of the same weapons and stuff. It's really weird.
Even though it came out 20 years before it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all get on our soapboxes. I don't, it's like I was saying in the Discord, I think, like, one of the reasons I love like Blossom Tales, Ocean Horn, 3D Dot Game Heroes, Blossom Tales 2, they are clearly trying their best to copy Zelda, and they're not hiding it. And that's why I love it. I don't go, oh.
Okay. So real quick, even though I know I've asked this probably half a dozen times, whatever happened to Hazelnut Bastille, and is that game still coming?
Like they're still putting up, like I've still got their Discord added to my Discord. I don't even know how to talk about Discord.
I'm in their Discord. Still doing the 8-bit game first?
I don't know if they're still doing it first. This game's going to take forever to come out. But yeah, they keep posting.
Forgetting about it.
I keep forgetting to check on it. Let me see if there's anything new in this Discord channel or whatever it's called. Aloft Studios, General, blah, 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 blah. I'm sort of nervous about benzos. Now I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh, now they're talking, the developer is talking about his blood pressure. Okay.
Well, that's not good.
That's not good. I don't think this game's ever going to come out. But anyways, no, I don't know when that's coming out, but I did back it as a late backer. So whenever it does, I'll get my copy. But yeah, so we talked about last time that the Dominus collection for Castlevania came out. It was announced at the Nintendo Direct, came out on everything. We did have a question from Black Talon. You said when we talk about it, let you know what order to play them in and all that stuff. I don't know what order to play them in. I just know that I wanted to start with the earliest one, which is Dawn of Sorrow. Now, I've heard some people say it goes that they get better as they go, that it goes Dawn of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia, Portrait of Ruin, I think is the order. But then I've also heard some people say, and this is what I thought, that they actually get worse as you go along, that Dawn of Sorrow is the best. Sorrow. I now don't know how to say that word. Sorrow. All I know is this game's freaking awesome. So I did play Aria of Sorrow on the Advanced Collection. Now, the problem with that, so there was 3 Game Boy Castlevania games in that collection. And I played the best one, the last one. Aria of Sorrow was the 3rd one to come out. And it was, for GBA game, pretty damn good. Like, I loved that game. Had a lot of fun with it. But then I went back to try to play the first one, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
2 and 3 are both pretty good, and
I can't remember if I ever tried 2.
The first one looks like it's Castlevania 2. Like, it just looks like a totally different
It looks like a Game
style.
Gear.
Yeah, it was very strange. It wasn't a terrible game, but compared to the other 2, I mean, it's by far the worst.
Yeah. Well, Dawn of Sorrow is just, this game is absolutely gorgeous. This pixel art is beautiful. It's just so nice for me to see games that were either on the DS or the 3DS getting ported, even outside of Nintendo, and being completely playable without issue. I love that you've got the main screen is your gameplay screen. And then over here, I just kept it on the default setup, which is the map up top. And then below that is basically your bestiary. It's your bestiary / your level and what you've got equipped and everything. So this game hasn't been very difficult, which I think is kind of crazy. Now, I say that, but now that I've stopped playing it because of another game, when I go back to it, I'm probably not going to know where I am.
Yeah, and all things considered, Vampire Survivors is going to be a much easier game to jump back into than a Metroidvania. Where like, where was I going and what was I doing? So, yeah, I'm not even going to start that until November, maybe. When I get back to Vampire Survivors and then get the platinum, then I'll probably jump into Castlevania.
Yeah, and this is one I'll probably play. You know, I want to beat Dawn of Sorrow. Probably, well, It depends how quickly I can platinum the other game that we're playing. If I can do it before
Are
Platinum Squire
you
comes out.
planning on getting this platinum, or you're just playing it and whatever?
So far I'm just playing it. But the good thing is when you look at the trophies, and I think I told Sean this already, but basically you have to beat each game, and then each game also comes with another mode. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it's hard mode or what. I assume it's hard mode. You beat each game twice and you get the platinum. Because all the other trophies are just story related, unless some of those trophies are optional bosses.
I can't remember if it was the Rondo, my God, Symphony of the Night. That's the one.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was that or one of the GBA games, but one of them, I kind of feel like it was Symphony, even though that doesn't seem right, because I remember it being brand new to me and just, I don't know. I would be shocked if there was something in Symphony that I didn't already know about, but I don't know. But anyways, there was a mode where you could play the game. It was Symphony. You could play the game as
Richter. Yeah.
And he plays totally different. Like, and I think you have to beat it, but it ends up being a much shorter game because of his powers. You can kind of just skip a lot of it. And so it was kind of weird. So I'm wondering, because then you say, I won't say the name in case it means something to somebody else. And I'm not entirely sure I remember the name, but you said it's blank mode.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if, I don't know who that is, but I'm wondering if maybe it means there's a way to play as that person and you have to beat it as that person, and that's what it is. And maybe it's similar to doing Symphony as Richter. I don't know, but it
makes me so happy because as you started talking, I realized what you were saying. And then I was like, oh yeah, what was the name of that again? Oh my God, it's named after that character. Oh my God, do I get to play as that character? Are you serious? If that's the case,
probably it.
But you know, there's not a platinum per game. It's a platinum for the whole collection.
Right.
So
yeah.
If the other two games do suck, I probably won't go for the platinum, but I can't imagine that they suck. There's just no way.
Yeah.
The combat isn't great. That's one thing. I love exploring in this. I love the world. I love the castle, the story that's going on and how that ties into Sora. No, that's not his name. That's Kingdom Hearts. I can't. Soma, same character you play as in Aria of Sorrow, is really cool. Some of the combat trust me, I thought of that. Some of the combat doesn't feel great, but one of the things I do like in this is they have this. It's not like Tears of the Kingdom, but they have this like fuse system or this like, what do they call it? Synergy system or something like that with weapons. So you find weapons, like you'll find a basic sword or a basic knife or a long sword. And then as you go around and you kill enemies, sometimes when you kill an enemy, and I think this was actually in Symphony. I can't remember because it's been so long since I played it, but sometimes when you kill enemies, you get their soul. Is that in Symphony?
You're thinking of Iga.
Okay. Yeah. Bloodstained.
Bloodstained. Yeah.
Okay. So you get their souls, and some souls are like up in attack. They'll like you shoot out like a wolf face, or you can throw bones like a skeleton. But what you can also do with these souls, and then there's yellow souls that are passive, and then there's blue souls that are like a R2 special attack or something. I can't remember. But you can either use them as they're intended, or you go back to your friend and you do the weapon synthesis stuff. And if you have the right sword, or if you have the right weapon, because I mean, there's all kinds of weapons, spears, axes, everything. If you have the right weapon and the right soul, then you can fuse them together and upgrade your weapon, go from like a long sword to a great sword, and then a great sword to a claymore, and then a claymore to a whatever. I think it seems like there's like 3 or 4 levels to level up. I do like how I ended up going with a big great sword because it does the most damage, even though it's one of those. And usually I don't like those, but the fast swords that I have they're nothing's as fast as like Symphony. It doesn't seem like, and they're only like 60% as powerful as the great sword. So I was like, I'd rather have the attack power and not be as quick with my attacks. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it almost sounds, especially with the mention of souls, it almost sounds kind of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring-esque, where Now that's more about the bosses, but you get a boss's soul, and then you can either like use it or
Oh,
you
that's true.
can
Yeah.
use it to get like a better weapon and stuff. So,
Yep.
but yeah, that sounds awesome.
Um, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. There's some bosses that I will say this small spoiler, and you'll probably forget by the time you play it, because I don't know that I've ever seen this enemy in anything else except uh Castlevania, the animated series, season 2, episode 8, the greatest video game thing that's ever happened when the three of them storm the castle and Bloody Tears comes on. And it's just like the greatest, it's just the best like 30 minutes of video game related adaptation that's ever happened. You know those big freaking ugly looking penis monster things that are like huge and they're like wrinkly and they like go like they go like this and they just got two
Do I
fat
remember it
feet.
from the show?
Yeah. And they've got these
No, I do not.
big honking teeth and they go like and they throw like a ball of fire at the castle to try to break the door down and stuff. Anyways, that's a boss in this. And I was like, holy crap, that's the
Oh.
thing from the series. And I don't know if I've ever seen that in one of the other Castlevanias before. So that was cool.
Hmm.
I love this game. It's awesome. This I think the collection was $25. Even if I only just like I said, the advanced collection, even though I only played Aria of Sorrow, I had so much fun with that it was worth the price of admission right there. That's how I feel about Dawn of Sorrow as well. But I do want to try, especially because it seems like these games get really different. I don't remember if it's the second one or the third one, but one of them, there's a lot of like team up stuff. It's not co-op, but it's like you and there's another. I guess it would kind of be like if it's like Richter and Maria, and you can like bring one in and swap the other out, or sometimes you got to have both. Like I've seen pictures where there's like one on this level and one on this level, and you got to move a certain way to solve puzzles and stuff. I don't know if I like that or not. But it seems like whereas this one is pretty much Dawn of Sorrow is very much just, it's an Egavania, and it's fantastic.
Right.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Hmm.
So that's all I've played. Besides a little game that came out and just happened to have the highest Metacritic score for any standalone game released this year. Basically, what that means is it didn't beat Shadow of the Erd Tree, but it's for every other actual just game that wasn't a DLC that came out this year, 94 on Metacritic. And I saw that and I was like, first off, I had the same thought that Chris had in the Discord. Damn, it would have been nice if we knew this game was coming out so somebody could draft it. But
Yeah.
I was so happy.
I've used it as a prediction for Summer Game Fest probably last year, and I was off by a year, but I didn't even think to draft it. I figured whenever it got announced, it probably wasn't coming out that same year, but
exactly.
oh well.
But it's fantastic. Obviously, I don't even know if I said the name yet, but we're talking about Astro Bot. This game is beautiful. I've been talking a lot here recently, Sean. What are you thinking of Astro Bot so far? And how far are you now?
I have not gotten really to play at all this week.
Okay.
I think I'm still in World 2. But no, I love it. I mean, it's exactly what I thought it would be, what I wanted it to be. I will say no spoilers, but the coolest thing, like we've talked about, the coolest thing that I've done so far is the mouse level.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, and I'm reading ahead here, the only drawback, the only negative thing I can say, which isn't even fair, is I wish it had VR support because it's an amazing game. But it just makes me think of the first one and playing that in VR, just how it's a game that didn't really need to be in VR, and yet that just made it so much cooler. But I mean, it's pretty much, and I don't mean this with any negativity, it's kind of the same game. It looks, I mean, I'm sure it looks a lot better, especially when you go back to PSVR 1 graphics, not great. So it looks better, but at the same time, it looks the same. It controls the same. It feels the same. It's got a lot of the same music, a lot of the same, like, it's just more of that game, just not in VR. But I love it. I mean, I love it's challenging at parts, but still forgiving. Actually, this one hasn't been too challenging, but if it evolves in the way that the VR that Rescue Mission did, I assume it will probably get hard, but it's also forgiving just with the amount of like checkpoints and stuff. So tough but fair. And I just love having played and platinum the first one. I feel like it's very, not that it's that difficult, but I feel like I've got a better sense of like where to go, what to look for, that kind of stuff for finding all the bots and the puzzle pieces and the the swirly galaxy things, like all that stuff. But I mean, I love it. It's perfect. It's just fun. I love all the little Easter eggs, all the little winks and nods, and like, and I'm sure I've just barely scratched the surface, but like, and one of my favorite things about the first one, I say the first one, Rescue Mission, was the boss fights. And again, they kind of felt different being in VR. And I've only done one true boss fight in this one, but it was amazing. Like, and I'm sure they're all just awesome. But like the first one, you're fighting like King Kong, basically the giant gorilla, and it was just awesome. It reminded me so much of Rescue Mission. And
is that the one? Do you have the dog on your back? That's going to sound weird to people that haven't played the game. Is that the power up that you use against him? I think.
What does the dog do?
It just goes like forward.
Yeah, because you have to
go boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, what the hell are you talking about?
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
So how far have you made it?
I'm about halfway through World 5.
100%ing the first 4?
The first 4 have been 100%ed. Yes. Well, wow. They've been 100%ed as far as the bots and the puzzle pieces and the black holes. What I haven't done.
Any guide usage?
A couple times when I was just like, where the hell is I don't want to play through this a third time. Where is this bot that I cannot find?
I think it was the mouse level. There was some recent level that I played. It may have been that one where I missed something, and part of me was like, oh, but then part of me is like, I don't mind playing that level again. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll be able to find whatever's missing. I mean, I can always pay the thing and that'll help, but yeah.
I just think this game is like a technical masterpiece. Like I didn't watch their video or anything, but I saw Digital Foundry did say like, this is just, it runs perfect. This game, it's also this game 60.
Like what was the other Playroom? Playroom. That was fun, but that was more just like tech demo-y. Look what you can do with the PS5 and the DualSense and whatever. This game just took that and just ran with it. This is the only game other than
Playroom on steroids.
Playroom, and more so than Playroom, that it's like, oh, this is why the DualSense can do everything that it does. And like, they just get it. It's like, oh, you can do all that cool stuff with the DualSense, then let's go. Let's use all of it. And I feel like other games just, and it doesn't like, it's a nice to have. It doesn't like change the whole experience or anything like that, but it's just cool to see somebody that I don't know, you can tell they just had a real like passion in making this game, and it's not just like a cash grab, and it's just like I mean they nailed it in every sense.
And I'm like 16 hours in, I think is what PlayStation tells me. I like that if you do miss something, there's something that you can get when you go back into your level. And I like that there are levels in this. I will say that also. I like that. If you go back into the level, once you've beaten the level, there's something you can get at the very beginning of the level, which costs some coins, but it will basically help you find the collectibles if you want it to. I like that. I've tried to stop using it unless I'm just like F this, but usually if I'm like F this and I'm just so frustrated, I'll just look it up because it's driving me nuts. Um, I I'm not ready to say this yet about this game. Well, first off, the funny thing is speaking of Astro's Playroom, when that came out, it was just like you said, a pack-in game, quote unquote game, tech demo. I had it number 5, I think, on my top 10 list for that year. I loved that thing.
I mean, I don't remember
so much
what else came out or even what year it was.
Well, it was the year's Final Fantasy VII remake. And Last of Us 2 and Ghost.
No, but I'm talking about Rescue Mission was almost my game of the year that year. And I think I feel like it was maybe kind of a weak year, but like it was way up there. And yeah, this totally delivers.
This might be, I think this might be my favorite. It's Prisoner of the Moment. So that's why I'm not saying that it is, but this might end up being my favorite 3D platformer I've ever played. Right now, that goes to Galaxy. And it's nothing has even come close to Galaxy in my mind. And I played Galaxy, like whatever it was, 12 years after it came out.
I mean, for me, I never really thought about it that way, but honestly, mine right now is probably Rescue Mission. So I'll be curious to see if this can top it.
Like, I think it's definitely more fun than Odyssey. This is, like, I saw a lot of people saying, like, Nintendo aren't the only ones that can make a Mario game now. And I'm like, you can't give a higher praise than that when it comes to a platformer.
Yeah.
Like you said, the DualSense features and everything. I almost think my favorite thing, because it's cool to hold in R2 to when you do your powers and stuff, or when you take off in the ship and you leave the level or you go down to the planet or whatever. That's cool and everything. I almost my favorite thing is just when Astro Bot's just ding 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 ding, and he's just walking across something and you can just barely feel, but you can feel it, and it's in a different spot than the rest. Like, I know it's where the motors are and stuff like that. It boggles my mind how they did this HD feedback or whatever they call it. Maybe that's what Nintendo called theirs. I don't know. It's basically the same thing. So yeah, I love the regular levels are cool with the collectibles and everything. But then in each world, you can also unlock extra levels. Some are called Retro Rampage. The first time I dropped into that, I was like, this is freaking awesome. Are you kidding me? That's the other thing. Not just does this game run perfectly, when you've got all these particles or like diamonds or like bouncy balls or whatever filling up the screen, and it's like there's no drop frames as far as I can see, and I'm not great at seeing that stuff, but it's just like it's still perfect. Like, how does that even happen? I don't know, but it does. I like the part, and you do this after every world, after you beat the boss, you go back to the planet and you take the thing and you manipulate it.
Yeah.
That part's cool. I like doing that. There are some, like you said, there are some, what do they call them? Cameo bots, I think, or maybe that's what Chris said they call them. The bots in this are so cool. I like that it's not just Sony first party bots. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that also after you beat a world, it unlocks one more level that's a themed level. And the one that you're about to unlock, I already told you, I think it's going to end up being so far, it's still my favorite level in the game. That you get after you beat World 2.
In World 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are really cool. There's a power up. There's, I don't know how many power ups there are in this, maybe like 10 or so. Some of them do get reused as you go on, but there's got to be around 10, I think. There's one that I've only gotten on one level so far, and I don't want to say what it's called because that would give away what it is. But when I first unlocked it, I opened the treasure chest, and I just all of a sudden I turn into a rectangle, and I'm like, well, what the hell is this? I don't know what to do. And I'm pushing R2, and I'm like, what the hell? It's not telling me what to do. And then you step to a certain area, and all of a sudden it tells you what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the coolest freaking thing ever. You'll know exactly what it is when you get there. It's amazing. I love it. Even running around the hub world is fun, especially as you get later in the game and you get more and more bots, so you can open up more things.
Yeah.
And you can unlock the gacha machine, which you got to get everything in there. That's part of the platinum. You get different outfits. Although I just kind of want Astro to look like Astro, unless I find like a snake sneaking suit or something, then I'll put that on him. I just love Astro the way he is. Yes, Sean.
One issue I have, and it's an annoyance, a minor annoyance at worst, but there's been a couple times. Once was on the first world after boss level, and the second time was when I went back to like the home world and was doing stuff there. Without even knowing it, I accidentally just finished it. And all of a sudden I was back in the ship and then just waiting to like push L2 and R2 to take off. I'm like, I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't know that was going to end the level and there's no way to get out. I'm like, I wasn't ready to leave. And then once I leave, I'm just like, like it happened on the first world post boss level where there's like the rail that appears. I'm like, oh, cool. And I jump on it and then it's like, you're done. That's it. No
like,
going
well,
back.
no.
I'm like, I wasn't done. I wouldn't have gone up there. So I don't know. That's kind of annoying. That's happened to me twice now. But again, minor annoyance at worst.
That's happened to me a couple times. But really the only thing I don't like about this game, and it's the most minor complaint, I think if I was to score this game, I'd still give it a 10. It's just the speed of the camera.
Yep.
The camera
fact that you
right
can't change the sensitivity of the
so
camera.
Weird. Yeah.
It's so odd. Like, what a weird oversight. I don't know. That's very strange.
I saw there was something in the options. The only thing that was camera related was I think you can hit circle twice and then it'll recenter the camera. But I'm like, that doesn't help me. I want to move the camera. I don't want to center it. I want to be able to look around and not be like,
Right.
That's just the only thing that I don't think is basically perfect about this game. But yeah, you mentioned the bosses and stuff. And I was wondering, because this is basically one hit kills you. I was like, how are they going to do the bosses? And again, I've only played Rescue Mission for like one level when I played it at your house that one time. So I didn't play any bosses in that or anything. I was like, I wonder how the bosses in this are going to work. Every boss I fought has been awesome. And I will say, as you get later in the game, it's not that there's only bosses to end the world. There are some bosses in regular levels as well. And they're not as tough. Like usually they just take 3 hits or something. They're not multiple phases. But it's still cool the way they're all larger than life. You can pretty much tell what you need to do based on the power up that you have. And then you watch the patterns and you dodge this and then you do that. And it's great. I just was like, I don't know how they're going to incorporate the bosses into this. Oh, they're freaking perfect. You know, everything about this game except the camera, honestly, is perfect. I think the most graphically impressive level I've seen so far, I don't remember if it's in World 3 or 4, so you're not there yet, but there's a level that's at nighttime with rain, and whenever you do night and rain with lighting that's good, it's going to look amazing. Think of, Ground Zeroes, how awesome that looks. And I still think it's one of the best looking PlayStation games ever. It looks remarkable in this. It just looks so freaking good. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. I will definitely, by the time we podcast next, whether it be next week or the week after, I'm hoping that I will have gotten a platinum. I think Sean and I were looking the other day. I think I've only had 3 platinums this year. I've been slacking on my pimp and turn it up. See, the money ain't a thing. But this is definitely going to be a platinum. And I don't know. I just absolutely love this game. It's better than I even thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through my notes if there's anything else I could say.
Well, you got 2 little sub bullets here.
Oh, I do. Oh, yeah. So there is DLC coming that will include challenge levels and a speedrun mode. Now, I don't know if this is free or paid or what. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to guess it's probably free because, they added stuff to Playroom and that was free. But yeah, the
seems
director,
like it would be free, but I'd probably pay for it if it wasn't.
The director of the game,
if I buy 2 DLCs in 1 year, that's a record.
A record, yeah. The director did say a VR mode or a port to PSVR 2 ain't happening. That's what Sean was alluding to earlier. They said it's just designed for a different medium. But I'm like,
so 2 things.
I don't know why.
One, I disagree. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm not saying he's there's probably not going to be. But I disagree that it's designed for a different medium. I think this game would be an easy port, relatively speaking,
Just got
to
in
VR.
based.
Now, my only concern with it, which was the whole thing, the whole reason why I was not really holding my breath on it to begin with, is the DualSense. The controller is a big thing. And I don't know that you can even use PSVR 2 with the DualSense. I think you have to use the Sense controllers.
You don't
and so
have to.
I don't know how they would.
I was thinking about that after we talked about it. I was like, wait a minute. When I was playing Gran Turismo, I was using the DualSense. So yeah, you definitely can use it.
You were.
Yep.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know. There's still I'll hold on to the slightest amount of hope for that. But before I read that, which was now, before this podcast, I was going to make a prediction. I was going to make two predictions. I'll still make the other one. One was we get a VR port. Two, which I will hold on to. We're not doing predictions. There's nothing to predict, but just throwing it out there into the
Game Awards.
I bet with the success of this, I bet we get a rescue mission PS5 port.
PS5.
Because that game doesn't really need to be
awesome.
in VR. Like, he may say this one was not designed for VR, it's designed for a different medium, and the first one was designed for VR, so it was also designed for a different medium. There's no way this game wouldn't work in VR. There's no reason that game wouldn't work not in VR. So with the crazy success of this game, and the first one is just as good, I would say, if not better. This is probably the better game, but the first one, I think, was just a little bit more special just because it was VR. But that game would be like just as well received on PS5, not in VR, and probably not many people played it because I don't know how many people had PSVR, and that is a masterpiece. Like, so I'm hoping, even if they don't make a VR port of this one, I bet we get a non-VR port of Rescue Mission.
That would be awesome.
And I don't know if that's ever been done. I don't know if anybody's ever turned a VR game into a non-VR game. I don't know how much harder that is or easier it is than turning a non-VR game into VR.
Right.
It seems like it would be easier. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, especially when it's a platformer. I mean, yeah, it's just basically a different way of controlling the camera. But I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. James said he's on the circle levels now. So that was one thing I forgot to mention. So in some of the worlds, I guess in 4 of the worlds, they're in all but 1, you can unlock circle, square, cross, or triangle levels. And these are 4 levels in each. And they are some are really not that bad. I only died a couple times. There are some where I was ready. Like you were saying earlier, sometimes the difficulty ramps up on these levels. There's been times where I have like taken the controller and gone in my head. Like I'm just like, oh God. It's making me so angry. And one of them, I did have to like walk away. I went back to it the next day, only died a few times, was able to beat it. It's just, sometimes it'd be like that.
The only thing, at least that I remember from Rescue Mission, that made me do that were what I would call, and what I think is meant by this DLC, the challenge levels.
Okay.
And in the first one, that was part of the platinum. And this, it won't be, since it's DLC. But like, there were levels that were similar to levels you had already done, but it was like speed run modes, like get to the end, in less than 11.2 seconds, or shoot all these things, for a high score and get the highest score, which means you can't miss any. There's like a lot of just like challenge things like that. And some of those were pretty tough. So I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure this game ramps up in difficulty, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, and there's some levels, regular levels, that are difficult, but none as much as these, as the sacred symbols levels, as I would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else I can say without spoiling it. I don't want to spoil some of the cameos that are in this. or some of the power-ups. They're just so much fun. So well done. So well done. Oh yeah, and like we said, there are the galaxy, there's secret exits to some of the levels, basically 2 in each world, I think. So there's a 6th world, which is this like black hole world, which I'm just saving. I'm gonna beat World 5 because it seems like the boss that's at the end of that. It feels like after I beat World 5, there's gonna be and one more thing. I don't know if it's gonna be a whole like
A whole new world.
systems worth of levels, or if it is just going to be a world and just one level and then you fight the boss and you beat the game. So I'm just waiting to do the black hole, the lost void, whatever it's called, levels, until I beat level 5, world 5. And then after that, I'll go and do what I assume will be a light level. Oh my gosh, that was tough. What I assume will be a final world, final fight with the final boss, and go from there. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing else I can say about it. It's fantastic. Sean, anything else you want to say?
I think I covered it.
Sean, we got news to talk about. Now we're going from the high of Astro Bot to maybe some lows. Definitely one of these is a low. We have not talked about this first topic. Can't wait to hear what we both have to say. So let's talk about it. That would be the PS5 Pro. We've been hearing about this thing forever. It's finally real. But is it spectacular? This comes from VGC. Sony has officially announced the PS5 Pro. The new console will be released on November 7th for $700. It will include a 2 terabyte SSD and a DualSense wireless controller. Wow, thank you. But a disk drive will need to be purchased separately. Revealed during a live stream hosted by system architect Mark Cerny on Tuesday, the system introduced a larger GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling for new and existing titles. According to Sony, the PS5 Pro has a GPU with 67 more compute units than the current PS5 and 28% faster memory. What that means basically is that the PS5 Pro has 45% faster rendering for gameplay, quote, making the experience much smoother, end quote. Meanwhile, advanced ray tracing allows in-game light rays to be cast at, quote, double and at times triple, end quote, the speeds of the current PS5 console. Finally, the PS5 Pro introduces, and we're going to just call this PSSR for the rest of our lives because we're never going to remember that this stands for PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, an AI-driven upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide sharper image clarity, according to Sony. Again, I'm pretty sure all this is what we've heard in all the leaks. It was kind of like when the Switch came out, we're like, yeah, when the Switch got unveiled, we're like, okay, it was this. Yep.
It's
Other
weird
enhanced,
that they call that PSSR and not PSSSR. Seems like there should be 3 S's.
Oh yeah, because PlayStation. Yeah.
It's not the P5. It's the PS5.
PS5.
So PSSSR.
It is stupid. Why not just call it PlayStation Super Resolution or Spectral Resolution? Why do you got to have the super in there? I don't know. Other enhancements include PS5 Pro Game Boost, not Poos, which can apply to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games playable on PS5 Pro. Quote, this feature may stabilize or improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS5 games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve the resolution on select PS4 games, end quote. Hideyako Nishino, who is the SIE business CEO, said that we developed PS5 Pro with deeply engaged players and game creators in mind, as many have asked for a console that runs even higher fidelity graphics with smoother frame rates at 60 frames per second. It's humbling to see how game creators have embraced the latest technology from PS5 Pro. What? You're just not... Oh, game... never mind. I was thinking content creators. Never mind. The people that create games that have had the dev kit and been working... Yeah, I got it now. Never mind. And several games will be patched with free software updates for gamers to take advantage of PS5 Pro's features. These games can be identified with a PS5 Pro enhanced label within their title. PS5 Pro features a design consistent with the overall PS5 family of products, according to Sony, with the same height as the original PS5 and the same width as the newer refresh PS5 model, which we call the PS5 Slim. I didn't know that the PS5 Slim was shorter than the regular PS5. Did you? Like if you stand it up vertically.
I don't remember that.
I thought they were the same size. There's going to be a bunch of games that they list here that'll have enhancements. Last of Us Part 2 is going to get a super smooth 60 frames per second. Horizon Forbidden West is going to run at 4K 60 now. That's awesome. So there's a lot here. And then I've got some other notes here. So to sum all this up, $700 without a disk drive. So for me, that would mean $780. 2 terabyte SSD. That was something I don't think they mentioned in there. 2 terabyte hard drive. At least there's that. Advanced ray tracing, PSSSR, upgraded GPU, faster memory, VRR and 8K support, and it does do Wi-Fi 7 as well. So maybe games won't take 10 times longer to download than they do on Xbox. Game boost. So the pre-orders start on September 26th and it comes out November 7th. It seems like in the US pre-orders are only going to be on PlayStation Direct, I think is what they said, but I'm not 100% sure. Mark Cerny did also say that PS5 Pro will enhance PSVR 2 games via AI upscaling as well. I don't know that that's going to be there at launch. I think that's one of the things that they said will come down the line. So yeah, there will be 40 to 50 games that will have PS5 Pro upgrades available for free at launch that will mostly be focused on 4K 60. Ampere Analysis Group said they expect the PS5 Pro to sell around 13 million units by 2029, which would be in line with the PS4 Pro. The PS5 disc drive is currently outselling all Xbox consoles on Amazon, which is hilarious to me. But also, does that mean that many people are going to be trying to buy a Pro? Also, PlayStation Direct, it was announced that they will start selling refurbished PS5s with a disc drive for $400. So regular PS5 doesn't seem like it's getting a price drop. If you want a price drop, you just got to buy a refurbished model. I've talked a lot. Sean, PS5 Pro, we've been talking about this a lot. We've been thinking about it. We've had all the leaks. Are we going to upgrade? Are we not going to upgrade? Now that it's finally here and it's real, what do you think?
I'm out. I was looking forward to it, but so you could get a brand new PS5 discless. I don't know why I'm saying discless. I guess it's funny. Is it 450 or is it 400?
I thought it was 400, but it's 450. The original Slim was 400. And then when they got rid of, or the all digital edition was 400. And then when they went to this new model, it's just the new model is 450, or you can buy the one with a disc drive for 500, or you can do 450
so
and eventually spend 80 if you want. And you know what I mean? But yeah, originally the original digital was 400.
Well, I'm going to stick with that then. So $400 for PS5.
Sorry.
Or almost double $700 for a PlayStation that does not have a disc drive. That it's a little bit faster. I mean, like, that seems insane. Either, I mean, I should have expected it. If this would have come after, if there ever was a price drop for the PS5, like if the PS5 had since dropped down to 400, then this would have probably been 600. That would have been a little bit more palatable. I still don't think I would get it, but like $700. That is insane for kind of a marginal step up. And like, I've never once played a game on my PS5. So like Cerny said, I'm one of those people that plays pretty much everything on performance mode. I have never played a game on performance mode and been like, well, it's 60 frames per second, but it looks like crap. Like, still looks beautiful. I don't think I need that extra little bit of fidelity while playing 60 frames. Like, it looks more than okay. $700 just for a marginal. I mean, yeah, double the hard drive. Okay. Yeah, sometime when I bought Astro, I was like, hey, you got to delete stuff. I was like, oh. And then I looked through, I'm like, oh, here's like 200 gigs worth of games that I'm done, will never play again, and forgot was even on there. Okay, so I delete it and I'm on my way. Like, that's not a big deal.
Right.
There's no way I'm getting this. If they're gonna sell refurbished with a disk drive for 400, that means if you trade it in, you're probably getting 300. So I'm not going to trade mine in and spend another $400, basically another $500 once you add in the disk drive, which I'm going to need. Not for much, but I have some physical games.
I have a lot of PS4 games.
Basically, I'm trading mine in and just spending another $500 that I've already spent on my PS5 just for one that is a little bit builder.
Thank you.
I don't. Now, what this has me worried about,
I know
PS6 is going to be at least this good.
This much?
$800?
Yeah.
$900? Like,
that was the thought that I had.
What is going to happen?
That was the thought that I had. I was like, oh my God. Is this going to be the last PlayStation that I buy as my regular PS5? Because I'm out too. I can't justify this. $780. No. I can't do it. Like, even if I guess even if I thought, like, I think I assumed it was going to come with a 1 terabyte SSD. And that's why I was thinking 600. So I guess it being 2 terabytes, but a terabyte of data is not worth $100.
Right.
Not only that, you don't get a disk drive. You have to buy it separate. They're impossible to get now. Like I said, they were out selling Xbox consoles earlier, and they're sold out at like Best Buy and everything now. I when I saw $700, I thought it was a joke at first. And I immediately, of course, like I'm sure a lot of people did, we went back to the PS3 reveal and they're like, oh, get a second job. They might as well say that for this too. Now, that was $600 for a 20 gig PS3. There's a lot of difference here, especially inflation adjusted, blah, 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 blah. I know all that. If I didn't already have a PS5, that would be one thing. I would probably do this. It still just pisses me off that there's no disk drive. If they end up doing this a year from now for a 1 terabyte version that's $600 and comes with a disk drive or something like that, then maybe I'm in. But like, it's not even like I could sell my PS5 for what on eBay now? $200 maybe, and then I still got to spend another $500. You know what I mean? $580 so I can get the disk drive plus tax. Like, what were you gonna say?
What was I going to say? That had something to do with just the craziness of it all. I don't know. Something about the price. I'm sure it'll come back to me.
The PS4 Pro came out in 2016, so 3 years after the PS3. The PS3 launched at $400. The PS4 was dropped to $300. The PS4 Pro, $400. That's what I won't say I was expecting that with this. I was hoping for that they would do the same thing. Knock the current PS5 $100 down to $400, make the Pro $500. But you're talking between what I was hoping for and what it ended up being, a difference of $280, like a 60% of the cost of increase. That's just insane. Like, if I could sell my PS5 for $500, if I could get back what I paid for it, I could justify another $280 because I've already sunk $500 into the PS5. But an additional, that was weird, an additional $780? I don't know. And I cannot wait for Sacred Symbols on Friday because Colin is going to be so freaking obnoxious about this. Just as he was with Vampire Survivors. When people just say that he's a Sony fanboy and he never criticizes them and stuff, they don't know what they're talking about. But I can already tell that by some of the things he's been tweeting and stuff, he's going to be all about justifying this price. And I don't know, man. I think this is a big, between the thing we're going to talk about next and now this, Sony has had in the last month in my mind, two huge blunders in my mind. What were you going to say? Or did you forget again?
So I was going to say, the only thing I can think of is I know they're selling the PS5 at a loss, but they can afford to because they will make that up in software sales. And I'm wondering if they cannot be selling this thing at a loss. And I can't blame them for not wanting to sell something at a loss, but it's probably they just don't see. I think they know that they're not going to sell many of these. And there's probably not too many people that this will be their first PS5. I assume a lot of people buying it will be the ones that are upgrading and just love it.
They were there on launch day.
So they're not going to get,
yeah.
So they're not going to get any real new software sales out of it to offset what they're selling it for at a loss. And so they're like, we can't afford to sell this at a loss. We got to sell it and make some kind of money off of it. But
that's a good point.
There's no way that this should be almost double what the original one was. That's insane. You're paying, not 100% more, but 75% more for an extra, I don't know, 28% faster memory, 67% compute units, whatever that means, blah, 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 VRR, 8K support.
The
now we're gonna get 8K, but you can only do that at 30 frames. Like,
yes,
I do not understand this.
Well, that's another thing that this is something that had been in all the leaks, and I don't understand this well enough to explain it, but I'm going to try to do it in layman's terms. Yes, the GPU is 67% better when it comes to compute units, whatever that means. So games are either basically running off the GPU or the CPU. And I forget, there's certain types of games that, you know, they make their choice based on whatever the designer's doing. GTA 5, and so a lot of people assume GTA 6 are CPU based games. The PS5 Pro has the exact same CPU as the regular PS5. Now, if that means people are shelling out $780 for a PS5 Pro and it's not actually going to make GTA 6 run any better, because that's what I've seen a lot of people tweeting, whatever, I don't care. I want it for GTA 6 when it comes out. I might as well just buy it now. That's going to be insane. That's going to be insane. And I've heard some people say that like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looked all blurry and stuff when you played in performance mode. I'm like, what is wrong with your TV? I thought it was beautiful.
I don't get it.
I'm team performance mode, and I'm team not spending $780 on this thing.
Yep.
Now, I will say the one thing that's funny that I've seen some fanboys bringing up, and I do think this is hilarious, is that Xbox is about to put out a Series X all digital with 2 terabytes for $600. So the same power as the original one, just a bigger hard drive for $600, and this thing $700. That is funny. But still, the fact, I never thought we would get to a point in time where a video game console outside of like the Neo Geo would cost this much.
Yeah.
And Neo Geo, the games were like $250 also. I wish I would have known somebody that had a Neo Geo. And I've gone sometimes, and I've just, every once in a while, I'll look on eBay and stuff, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why do I want, I can just emulate Neo Geo games. They're not as easy to emulate as MAME games and stuff, but if I put a little bit of time in, I can emulate them just fine. You don't need a Neo Geo, Kevin. What are you doing? Anything else, Sean, on the PS5 Pro?
No.
I'm looking forward to when we can actually, now that we can actually talk about the PS5 Pro, now I just can't wait until we can actually talk about the Switch 2 and what it's going to be, and when it's going to be, and how much it's going to be. We'll see. I still don't know about that magnet controllers, but we'll see. The only other item on the news list, like I said, is another major downer for Sony, and no one knows how this should even happen, but Concord is dead. The much maligned Concord has died. This comes from PlayStation Blog, and this is written from the game's, I forget if it was the creative director or director, whatever it was. Concord fans. Now, obviously, this is all old news by now, but we haven't podcasted in 2 weeks. Concord fans, We've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC. We want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around this game has meant the world to us. What, all 50 people? However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game on PS5 or PC. If you purchased it from PS5, from PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. If you went through retailer, whatever, do this, whatever. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. Now, I don't know what the hell Sony was thinking with this. This game supposedly was in development for 8 years, 7 or 8 years. Not only did they partner with these guys at first, they then bought them. This has to be the biggest misfire, biggest flop. This is so much worse than the PS3 launching at $599. This is insanity that PlayStation, what is now a PlayStation first party game, was released, and less than 2 weeks later they said, scratch that, we're taking it offline. Couple other notes here. The Amazon Prime animated anthology series Secret Level had planned on doing a Concord episode, and that's still going to happen, which I think is super weird, but whatever. I don't even know what this is. Do you know anything about this Secret Level thing? I keep meaning to look it up. I think it got announced at Gamescom.
I remember seeing the teaser for it or whatever at...
Was it Gamescom? It must have
been. Opening night? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just seems like... I mean, short answer is no, I don't know. I don't know if it's like an anthology kind of thing where like every episode is its own thing and it's devoted to like, or my first thought was it was almost more like Ready Player One kind of thing where there's some person and he's like interacting with like all these different but I think it's just like, here's this episode and we're done. Here's this episode and we're done. Like, I think it's just little episodes about these games or something. I don't know, but
the estimated sales for this game, analysts believe it topped out right around 25,000 copies sold. 25,000 copies times $40. Check my math, Sean, but I think that's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
$1 million for a game that's been in development for 8 years. Not only did Sony publish it, but they actually bought the team making it. I cannot fathom the amount of money that this has lost Sony. Also, the Steam peak concurrent, and I checked this myself today because I was like, there's no way it was really this bad, was it? The peak number of concurrent players on Steam. Peak, if you don't know, means at its height. 697. Less people played this than the dollars you have to spend on the PS5 Pro. Weird connection, but I just made it. Less than 700 people played this game on PC. I don't know how. I don't know how they saw it. So if you think back, so the original beta was going to be for people that had pre-ordered the game. You get access to the beta a week early. And then the next weekend, they were going to do an open beta. Clearly, there were like no pre-orders because they were like, oh shit. Actually, hey, both weekends, we're going to open it up to everybody. And even when it was a free beta, I think this thing topped out at like 1,500 to 2,000 players when it's completely free.
Yeah.
Sony had to know right then. I mean, I don't know what they could have done. It's been in development for 8 years and they're planning to release it like 3 weeks after that. But they had to know this was going to happen, right? Or did they think it was going to flop, but it wasn't going to be like this? Like, what do you think happened here? I can't even believe this.
I have no idea. I don't know if it's the whole the sunk cost fallacy kind of thing where they're like, well, we've come this far, we got to see it through now, but they saw the writing on the wall and knew it was going to be bad. But I can't imagine this has to be even worse than the worst they could have imagined it would be. Like complete and utter flop. And the only thing I hope, because I know I'm sick of them, stop making these freaking games. We have Call of Duty, we have Overwatch, we have Fortnite. That's enough. Like, you're not going to break into the, like, people
already have a
set in their
George.
ways. They have the games that they like.
Yes.
I don't know how this was ever going to work. Like, we need less Concords and more Astro Bots. Make more just simple, fun games. Quit this crappy first-person shooter, games as a service stuff, and just make fun games again. Not everything needs to be a first-person shooter. Not everything needs to be stupid-looking, crappy anime garbage. Just make fun games. For the love of God, please. I'm not going to miss it. Peace out. I couldn't care less, but like, Sony, what are you doing?
Well, and it is crazy to think about, like, why was Helldivers so successful that it sold 15 million copies? Because Helldivers is different. There isn't another Helldivers out there. Helldivers
didn't have a George.
You squad up with 3 people and you go to an alien planet and you're fighting these giant bugs and everything, and you've got missions that you do. This game was just Overwatch with characters that look stupid, and there's nothing else. That's it. Like,
yeah,
we have a George. There's multiple Georges have tried to do this and failed. Remember Battleborn? Like, and that came out right around the time when Overwatch had just launched, maybe like the year after or the same year. I think that was Cliff Bleszinski's game, maybe. I can't remember. And that was at the beginning of all this hero shooter crap. And they couldn't even topple Overwatch before it had became like Overwatch as it is now. I don't know what they were thinking with this. I don't know why they bought this team. I will say this. I feel horrible for everybody on that team. Obviously, they've poured, some of them have been there probably the whole time. They poured 8 years into this thing, and to see it come out and not just flop, but to be like, never mind, we're not even going to sell it anymore. We're giving everybody their money back. And the fact that they say we're going to take it offline and try to figure out what we want to do with it in the future. Do you think, what do you think the percent chance is that this game actually comes back and is playable?
0%.
Yeah. Like, even if you launch this as free to play now,
yeah,
like, I'm sure you would get a higher.
You've lost all your goodwill. Like,
yeah,
there's no chance.
You might have more people. Like, the Steam concurrent might break 700 players because it's free. But after you've had the game flop this bad, why would anybody spend any money in the game after you botch this so horribly? Like, the whole point of free to play is you get people in for free and they spend money. That's why Fortnite makes billions literally of dollars every year. How would anybody do that with this game? I don't think they would. I just don't.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything
like 8 years in development. Like, you're basically just trying to copy Overwatch, but you got there 8 years too late. Like, if you're going to try to copy something and it's not going to come out for 8 years, don't bother. You've missed the boat by several years.
And one of the things they wanted this game to differentiate from Overwatch and stuff was these, every couple weeks they were going to release new cutscenes or vignettes, whatever they were calling them. Who the hell plays a hero shooter for the story?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how Sony could have made this big a blunder, but it's got to be their biggest flop, biggest mistake they've just ever made, period. Some reason I just opened Audacity. I don't know why. I meant to click. Let's skip. Okay. Don't even use this anymore. Sorry to everybody watching on YouTube, watching us live. The sausage has been made. Okay. What I meant to do was yawn and then click on Google Chrome so I can see the rest of our thing, which now includes the wrap up, Sean. PlayStation unveiled. They finally acknowledged their 30th anniversary. They acknowledged it with a cool 30th anniversary logo, which, by the way, you saw this, I'm sure, how people were looking at the image real closely before the PS5 Pro was announced. They were like, Leo, like,
What's that?
yep, it's right there. So they've announced that digital soundtracks are coming to Spotify. They announced these Shapes of Play series of these board games, magnetic blocks and stress ball things. Coming out this holiday is going to be something called My First Gran Turismo, which is a free trial game. So it seems like it's separate from Gran Turismo 7.
I might be all about that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to see the concurrent players on that. But it's aimed at first-time Gran Turismo players, and it's coming out this holiday. Now, this is all they've announced so far. And I'm saying so far, hopefully, this can't be all they're doing for the 30th anniversary, right? That they can't show that they gave stupid Jim Ryan. Oh, that's what I forgot to say. Obviously, his ass was fired. He did not, he retired, wink, wink, from Sony. They canned his ass when they saw how bad this was going. They're like, we have to stop this. How do you put out Concord, but The Last of Us Online gets canceled? I forgot about that too. You give us this shit, but we can't get The Last of Us Online. Anyways, you can't show stupid Jim Ryan getting gifted a PS1 themed PS5 with a DualSense that I want so badly and not make it available for sale. Are they going to do it, Sean? Or is this all we're going to get for the 30th anniversary?
I mean, now's the time. If they don't do it now, they're not going to do it. I mean, if they don't do it maybe within the next week or so, like maybe it's still coming, but like if you turn the calendar over to October, maybe November, and it hasn't happened, it ain't happening ever.
Well, and people are saying they think there's going to be a state of play coming relatively soon because you got to get people hyped for the PS5 Pro. And maybe it would be in there. But again, I don't know how you get people hyped for the PS5 Pro with a state of play. It's one of those things you have to, like, you're buffering stuff, you know, like you're streaming stuff on YouTube. It's not going to look as good. I don't know. They better put this freaking thing out. Yeah. They better put this freaking thing out. I don't want to have to build my own and break another controller by taking it apart. Analysts are now predicting the Switch 2 will be revealed this month, similar to the original Switch, and it will have a March 2025 release date. They're saying this because Nintendo assembler company Housekeeping, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is ramping up production equipment and automation. Basically, they're getting ready to start really hardcore manufacturing the Switch 2. Okay. I think it was... Oh, I just remembered when the Switch got finally unveiled, it was the same day that Red Dead 2 got unveiled.
Really?
Remember that? They were like a half hour apart, the different streams, and everybody's like, this is the greatest day in video game history.
Wow.
Remedy has announced that Annapurna is now co-financing Control 2, and they will be bringing Remedy's IP to film, TV, and beyond. This will allow Remedy to make Control, quote, exactly the game we want it to be. I want to go back and play Control. I've got it for free, either the PS Plus collection or something. It's got a free PS5 upgrade. I want to play this game at some point. Did you try it? I can't remember.
Yeah. And it was like, I don't know how to put my finger on it. Like, I played it and I wasn't like, this is terrible. I'm like, this is kind of fun. And then I just put it down and never picked it back up. And I probably never will. I don't know why. It wasn't bad, but it never hooked me either.
Let's see what's next. Marvel versus Capcom Fighting Collection. Xbox were very mad because this was not coming to Xbox. Capcom and Xbox have made nice, and it is now coming to Xbox, but not until next year, 2025. So we're all going to be playing MVC2 here and today or tomorrow, whenever this thing comes out, and Xbox owners have to wait till next year. I thought it was just batshit insane that this didn't come to Xbox all at the same time, but I don't know. It's crazy. Echoes of Wisdom got a new trailer. Did you watch this?
No.
Zelda can find a mysterious sword in the world that allows her to transform into her sword fighter form so she can actually attack in this game. However, it lasts for a very limited time.
So does it make Zelda Belder?
I don't think so. If it does, it doesn't last for the Belderness doesn't last very long. I'm so out. The more I hear about this game, the more I'm like, I don't even, I can't believe that I don't care about a Zelda game in 2024.
I hate it.
And I've wanted a Zelda game where you play as Zelda. I don't want it like this, though. She's freaking chic. You know? Spoiler alert. Konami has confirmed that Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 is in the works, but they haven't confirmed anything else with it. One of the things they said is going to be an issue is like, well, we had HD ports already for Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, so that was easy. There's nothing like that for like, they didn't say the names, but obviously Metal Gear Solid 4 file size is huge. Rising Revengeance file size is huge. Not only that, they're PS3 games and Xbox 360 games, whatever. Or no, not 4. 4 never came out in 360, but whatever. So they got to figure out what they're going to do there. But obviously, Collection Volume 2 is coming. And obviously, it's going to have Metal Gear Solid 4 for the first time is going to be playable outside PS3. As much as I have changed my tune on that game, I cannot wait to be able to play it on my PS5. I think that's going to be awesome. WB has said, no, you won't.
I have no...
Not even morbid curiosity to go back to that game?
No.
Okay. Hey. WB has said that Hogwarts Legacy, a Hogwarts Legacy follow-up is a major priority for them. It is expected, quote, a couple of years down the road, end quote. Yeah, because Suicide Squad is what they tried to do with making a game they shouldn't make, and they lost $200 million on trying to make a games as a service out of what should have just been another Arkham game. Freaking idiots. Black Myth Wukong is now over 18 million sold. That is insane.
Shout out to China.
Good for them. Shout out to the Chinese people, not the Chinese government. Unless you're listening. I'm sorry. We love you. Street Fighter 6 is now past 4 million copies sold in like a year and a half. I want to say this was like early last year, wasn't it? Street Fighter 5 came out in January. I can't remember if 6 came out in January also, but it's been over a year. I know that. 4 million copies. Like, so I guess they think that's good. I don't know. I mean, we're talking Street Fighter 6. I would hope a year and a half into it, it would have sold more than that, but I don't know. Ubisoft shares fell to a 10-year low after the release of Star Wars Outlaws. I think mostly because it got kind of middling reviews. I will say, though, James said he's friggin' loving it. And when I was listening to the guys on GameScoop over the weekend talk about it, one of them compared there's a lot of stealth gameplay and stuff, and some of that's been patched now to make it more, not as punishing. They were comparing the stealth stuff to Metal Gear Solid 5. And I was like, huh? And then I've heard other people compare it to Watch Dogs combined with Star Wars. And I was like, huh? So now I'm like, okay, now you have my attention. And as much as I just hate Star Wars right now, I don't know. This is one I'm going to kind of keep my eye on. Uka Studios, I don't know how to say it, but the developer of Visions of Mana. So the game came out August 29th. And then that same day, NetEase said, yeah, we're firing everybody. Almost every job was cut. I think it's a miracle that Visions of Mana even came out. I don't know that I'm going to end up buying it. I've got so much to play now. Actually, I want to see. Yeah, I want to see what it got on Metacritic. I don't know that I ever even looked that up, or did I? 75.
I was going to say mid-70s.
Yeah, that's about what I thought. Yeah, 75 on PS5, 75 on PC. Oh, well, I just don't know. Why do you let a game come out and then you just fire everybody? I don't know. It sucks. This one's for Sean, Ender Magnolia. I keep seeing this game, not this game, but the first game on my, XMB, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to try that. And I haven't gotten to it yet. But Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, release date has been announced. It's coming out January 22nd. Sean will be drafting.
I can't wait. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be this year, but that's fine. I got my hands full the rest of the year anyway.
a sentence I never thought I would say. Croc, the video game Croc, Legend of the Gabos is getting remastered. Did we ever rent Croc? I don't think we did.
I don't know. In my mind, when I hear Croc, the picture I see in my head is Gex.
Yeah.
That's something totally different. So I don't remember what Croc is.
That's a gecko, not a crocodile. And did you see Minecraft? Either I didn't know Minecraft was getting a live action movie or I just blocked it out of my brain. But they released the first trailer for it. Jack Black is Steve. Jason
I knew
Momoa
it was
is
happening,
in it.
and I remember Jack Black being Steve. But I don't know that I knew that it was live action. I thought it was more Lego movie-ish. I don't know. Kira wants to see it, of course.
Of course.
I don't
Casey
know
wants
that
to see
Jack
it
Black
too.
can save this.
This is one of those I might go and just take my AirPods and listen to a podcast while it's on. All I know is I saw the little bit I saw of it. I saw Jack Black. He just looks like Jack Black. He doesn't look like Steve. But when they're in like the Minecraft world, it doesn't look like Minecraft because there's still
like
kind of
made it look like Minecraft.
Exactly.
But then they didn't like.
It's like they did the opposite of Ugly Sonic. They made it too pretty, so it doesn't even look like Minecraft.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not crazy because I was like, am I the only one thinking this? I don't know. PS Plus Essentials for September were announced. MLB The Show 24, Little Nightmares 2, and Quidditch Champions. Not the best month. I've heard great things about Little Nightmares.
I think I'll play any of them.
Well, Little Nightmares 3 just got announced, so they're trying to hype people up for that. I get it. MLB The Show, the playoffs are right around the corner. I'm definitely going to at least add that to my library. So I've got it, and I probably will for Little Nightmares 2. Quidditch Champions, I could not care less about. PS Plus extra games for September were announced as well. We already knew the Plucky Squire was coming day one, which I cannot freaking wait for. Next week, what day is it? Oh yeah, 1 week from today. Yesterday. Night in the Woods, Chernobylite, Far Cry 5. Nice third-party game there, and some more. And then PS Plus Premium for September. PSVR 2 gets another free game, but they're only doing it at the highest tier because they don't want anybody to play PSVR 2. Pistol Whip is free, included, I should say. Secret Agent Clank from PSP, Sky Gunner on PS2, Mr. Mosquito on PS2. I think Mr. Mosquito, I'd never played it, but I think it was kind of like a cult favorite game. But
I don't remember if it was John or who, somebody mentioned it in the Discord, and I'm like, you guys are just
you're like, that's a made up game
at this point. Like Mr. Mosquito?
Mr. Mosquito. Game of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode. I forgot. Checks notes 366. Thank you all so much for being here. PS5 Pro. I don't even know. Concord. I don't even know, man. This has been a really weird freaking year in video games. That's all I know. Xbox is releasing games on PlayStation. PlayStation is like, screw you guys. We're going to double the price of the PS5 for the Pro model. And they release a game and then they're like, whoop, no, we didn't release it. Here's your money back. I don't even know.
Heads are falling off.
Thank you. Thank you. People are eating our pets. That was the moment when I was like, okay, I don't think either of these people are doing a great job, but now this is going off the deep end and I'm going to go play Astro. I was like, I can't watch any more of this. This is now, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. I really couldn't. But on that note, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.